manhwa is about a fae, a dark fae. A dark fae has purple eyes, hair, long horns. The point of the dark fae is that it's half-breed. Like the way we have our vampires and our werewolves is half-breed. He has a human father and a fae mother. And this caused a lot of problem for him. Most of his kind, like the dark faes, they see him as a threat, and they seem like not one of them. So there's actually a naming ceremony that is done among the dark fae where their name is inscribed in their eyes, or rather written in their eyes. But because they saw him as not one of them, they decided that he should not be named. And so throughout the story, or almost half of the story, this guy was nameless. Okay? After the death of his dad, he was stuck with his mom who was sick, and he had to get by every day by struggling to sell his paintings. And being an outcast, most people didn't want to patronize him. So he went as far as selling his body too, or should I say sleeping with the chief fae's son who was called Oren in the story. And this guy sometimes do not even pay him enough or give him enough food and herbs for his mother. Rather, he just tried to force him to rape him at times. And when the dark fae tries to resist, he beats him up and out all rudely to him. And the other fae was not an exception either. They were rude to this guy, and they try to intimidate him every chance they get. So this was bearable for him at the moment, because he was so used to it. He tried to get by every single day. All he could think of was to make his mother well again. Okay. So all this changed and become unbearable for him the moment the Dark Emperor of the Bedia tribe decided to pay the Fae community a visit. When I said a visit, I mean a horrible visit. This emperor was known across many other states for his wickedness. He was incredibly ruthless, and because of how the manhwa is set, he was actually the very first king to invent and use a gun. People called this weapon the Demon Scream. They saw it a bit demonic, which is funny. Everyone feared him because he held this power, while no other country or emperor had ever seen a gun before. He was completely bent on invading other countries, communities, and states, acquiring them for himself after destroying everything. He would capture the people and kill them for pure fun, like some psycho. The day the emperor arrived, the Dark Fae was not with his mom. He had gone out to buy some herbs for her, but on his way back, Oren stopped him, beat him up, like usual, and left him abandoned in the forest. When he finally woke up, he noticed the entire village looked strange. There was a weird noise in the air, and everything felt wrong. Thinking of his mom, he panicked and ran back, only to find the village engulfed in flames with everyone running and shouting. When he reached their hut, he found his mother lying lifeless on the floor, covered in blood. It was clear she had been shot to death by the Demon Scream. Overwhelmed with grief, he wept until he fainted. This scene broke my heart, honestly. I hated the emperor at once. When he woke up, he realized he had been captured by the emperor of the Bedia tribe alongside the other surviving Fae. They were locked away in a specific hut, which the Fae leaders saw as an opportunity to plot their revenge against the Bedia tribe. However, as they went through various strategies, it became clear that none of them would work because the emperor was simply too strong and would easily catch on. Realizing their plans were failing, the Dark Fae decided to step into the discussion. He told the leaders that he could kill the emperor himself. At first, the leaders were angry and scolded him, demanding to know how he could possibly achieve this. That is when he revealed his strategy, as the Fae's body carried a deadly disease. If any human or non-Fae being slept with them, that person would contract an incurable illness and die within 2 to 3 months. The leaders were intrigued, realizing this was the perfect way to infiltrate the emperor's life without raising suspicion. But they questioned how he could possibly seduce the emperor, considering the tyrant viewed the Fae as mere animals. Together, they formed a strategy. The chief of the Fae would present the Dark Fae to the emperor as a gift, lying that he was his own adopted son and a master artist who could paint a portrait like no one else. When they arrived at the palace and bowed, they presented the Dark Fae and his talents to the throne. The emperor took just one glance at this guy and declared him disgusting, finding his purple eyes, long hair, and horns repulsive. The Fae were shocked to their bones since this was their only hope. They tried to change the emperor's mind, insisting the boy was worth it, but the tyrant refused. To salvage the situation, the boy compromised and suggested that, if the emperor did not want him, he should let the old chief paint the portrait instead. This deeply annoyed the other Fae, because they knew the chief had not touched a brush in years and could not draw a thing. Yet, for some reason, the emperor found the boy's persistent begging amusing, like a psycho that he was, and agreed to take the chief as the painter instead. As they walked out, the other Fae began arguing and scolding both the chief and the Dark Fae for making such a reckless deal. On the day of the painting session, the Fae leaders were present. A brush and paper were placed on the floor for the chief, but suddenly the Emperor pulled out his gun and announced it was time for his hunt. The Fae thought it was a joke at first, but the Emperor immediately began shooting, even injuring the chief on his horn. As everyone panicked and ran into the forest, the Dark Fae saw an opportunity to capture the tyrant's interest. Instead of fleeing, he looked the Emperor dead in the eye and told him that if he survived this hunt, he wanted the chance to draw his portrait. Shocked by his boldness, the Emperor agreed to the deal but immediately began shooting at him. The Dark Fae ran for his life into the woods while the king and his guards hunted the Fae down one by one for fun. The Emperor tracked the Dark Fae to a hiding spot behind a rock and was just about to shoot him when a massive dragon snake flew out of nowhere to attack. The Emperor shot the snake, but not before it bit his thigh, releasing a deadly poison. Terrified of the venom, none of the Emperor's bodyguards or eunuchs stepped forward to suck the poison out. Seizing his chance, the Dark Fae bravely stepped out of hiding. The guards were stunned, knowing the king could kill him on sight, but the Dark Fae calmly explained that as a Fae, the poison would not harm him. The Emperor allowed him to do it. As the Dark Fae sucked the poison from his thigh, he did it seductively, making intense eye contact and touching him seductively. Intrigued and confused by the alluring purple eyes of the Fae, the Emperor grabbed him by the hair but refrained from shooting him. Trying to shake off the feeling, the Emperor pushed him away and walked off. It was clear in that moment that the Emperor's interest in the Dark Fae, and so was I. And if this Dark Fae caught your interest too, make sure to hit the like button and comment Dark Fae. Don't forget to subscribe for more captivating boys love manhwas.